This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
What a great morning. The skies are still overcast. A very, very good morning, and most of all, welcome to the beginning of our morning safari. This is Sydney Pumulani Mikosi, and when doing this, it means I've got something. Look at that. He's moving very nice and slowly right there. This is Hosanna. He's talking something. Look at that. Do you get that? Can see that he is up to something, and I'm not too sure what exactly he is looking for, because there is too many animals. He is heading towards the quarantine, which is much more open, and right there is quite a lot of animals. Let me reverse so that we can see maybe his potential target. This is all happening here, and I can see that he is hiding. Annette, this is a great start indeed. Look at that. My plan for the morning has already been executed. So you can see the concentration of the ears and the movement of the head that he is aiming at something. But when we started, his attention was not there. He just diverted his attention. His focus was on the left. There was an animal on the left. And now I can see that he is looking at the animal straight ahead. There is some impalas feeding, and they are slowly moving much more this side, right on the background. It's just that it's difficult for us to show you because of the thickness of the bush. But while following him, you will be able to see the impalas afterwards. We might see something interesting here. Rob, that is great indeed. It's good to have the leopard during the first minute of the show instead of the last. So I can promise you, this leopard is on a hunting mode. There is quite a lot of impalas coming down. It's not only the ones that he is targeting. Now, I can see more impalas. It's just that it's difficult for me to show you these impalas because I don't want to move around too much. Otherwise, I'm going to expose him, or I might ruin his hunt. Let's rather wait as he's moving, make use of his concealments, then I will be moving, because I can see animals are not aware at all about his presence. So now let's quickly go to David and hear what is happening by the Masai Mara.
A very good morning, everyone, from the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And what a start with Hosanna out there, and hopefully Hosanna will be able to get breakfast for himself. Such a very good hunter, that boy. The much I know him, and also the much I remember him. My name is David, and on camera is Bungay. Bungay, a very good morning. Bungay is very excited because Bungay just resumed work yesterday. This is his second day. We're very happy to have you on board, and remember, as you have always said, questions, comments are always very welcome. Still very dark here, as Bungay is trying to show you. We're still waiting for the light to come out, but we have that beautiful eastern horizon with the usual iconic trees of the Mara Triangle. I'm talking of the torchwood trees. There's one there that's making the sky look wonderfully good. A rather chilly morning for me and for Bungei also, I guess. 61 degrees Fahrenheit and about 16 degrees Celsius. But that doesn't worry us very much because we have a plan, and our plan is very big today. We want to go to an area that I like calling the Sausage Republic. Well, we've got some other gentlemen, like myself and Sydney, who would like to say hello to all of you because he got such huge animals in South Africa.
Thanks, Gigi. Welcome, everybody, to the Sabi Sands. We have just found and been spending some time with a very large herd of elephants. Here are some boys coming from the back, playing a little bit boisterous. There we go, as boys will be. All right, we were in a nice position before, but then we had some technical issues. I'm going to try and reposition again so you can get to see some of the... Sorry about the pole. We do have looming rainfall on its way, and good morning. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Senzo, Three Fingers and Keys on camera. And please send through your questions, comments to #SafariLive. We'd love to hear from you. First minute leopard, first minute elephants. Let's see if we can get up again ahead and see if we can get in front of them. Love watching elephants in the morning. Sens, I'm going to move. #SafariLive. We'll throw your comments in on the YouTube stream. It is very cloudy and overcast. There's potentially some rain on the horizon, and well, the bush is out to impress us this morning. Here we go. There's boys. You can see the herd. It's just up ahead of them. I'm going to try to zoom around them on the side here. Now you've got to give elephants space. A breeding herd with lots of babies. Read the behavior. They seemed quite relaxed. They did bunch quite close together as they walked past us, but that's because they had a tiny little youngster that just sort of melted into the herd as the herd moved past. And that's classic behavior of just protection. And it's amazing how quickly that really small little youngster can just disappear into the safety of the herd. But while we get you another view of this beautiful herd of elephants, let's go back just over there to the little chief.
So you can see that now Hosana is on the move and he's looking at something. He decided to leave the impalas and now his concentration is somewhere right here. So I still want to check what exactly he's up to at the moment, but I can promise you this cat is on a hunting mode. And look at how Hosana is growing. He's growing very healthy and he's now becoming very bold. Yes, the dewlap is not yet there. You can see he's still young to have that. So the big males, you'll see them with the dewlap here on the neck. Look at that, look at it. It's just sitting like an owl with the ears up. You can see that it's like an owl. So the owls, this is how they stand up on these trees. See, the left ear is concentrating all the time. Maybe he's going to have interest again to go after the impalas. The biggest problem now with those impalas is that they're all by the open space, by the quarantine, so he doesn't have any concealment. He decided to give up before they even noticed his presence, which is a good idea. You can see that he is now having quite a lot of hunting skills. He doesn't want to announce his presence. He saw that one mistake. Look at him now moving. Oh, he's now looking at them by the quarantine. So we might have a lovely sighting when he gets up there. The problem is quite a lot of impalas, and if one of them picks him up, he's going to give an alarm call and all are going to join, and he will decide to give up and maybe come back much more this side. You can see that his movement is not normal. He is talking. He's got a beautiful facial expression. Look at that. Now this is quite a lovely sighting. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to pull forward and keep following and see how he's going to do his hunt there. But I can promise you, so at the moment, it is very, very difficult for him to get closer because concealment is going to end just now. We will be approaching the open space soon. Now, let's cross over to Steve, who is having some elephants at the moment.
Welcome back. We've managed to get up ahead of these elephants. And, well, just going to let them come towards us. Giving them space. They've got plenty of room to move. And they're going to come as close to us as they feel comfortable. Hello, ladies. Good morning. Look at the little one in the middle there. Isn't this just gorgeous? There's something very special about being this close to elephants. Little baby, sorry about the pole. I'm really, really sorry about that. There seems to be Fang, I think. Is that Fang with her bent tusk going backwards? This herd of elephants just moving very casually past us. Doesn't matter how many times you experience that, there's always this very awesome feeling you get in your stomach. Hello, white lady. I think that was Fang. Any of you viewers out there who can remember, I don't think I've ever seen her before. I just know that she's an individual with a skew tusk. The herd continues to come. There goes most of the herd there. There's the skew tusk one. And the boys, of course, coming slowly from the back. Sorry about the aerial. Okay, everyone's confirming it is indeed Fang. She's a very relaxed female and the biggest in the herd. And generally the biggest elephant in the herd is the matriarch. If you do see a really big one, have a closer look. It might be a boy. And here we got the boys here. Since these 4 boys coming up from the back are always such good value. They're at that age where they're pushed away from the herd, but they're still not quite independent enough to do things on their own. So they can often be the ones who give you all sorts of nonsense because they know they're supposed to be a big elephant. Hello, boy. Yes, you are such big boys, aren't you? They're all about between the ages of about 15 and 17. Very boisterous. They start showing sexual interest in their family and, well, they get pushed away. They follow the herd for some months, even a year or so, until they kind of hook up with a big male. And they become his askari, and then they follow him around and kind of learn the ropes and learn how to fit into sort of elephant society with regards to being a boy, because it's a very intricate sort of process. And, well, hanging out with the breeding herds is a very different way of doing things, and all the boys have to behave very differently. Hello, James. It's a very good question. There's lots of contrasting beliefs about elephant slumber. I've had an elephant sleep for a good 4 or 5 hours close to my tent before. I've also seen elephants sleep for 15, 20 minutes. How much of the sleep they do lying down, how much they do standing up, it is all quite a conundrum. When doing drone tests earlier this year for the TV show, we often came across breeding herds of elephant, the entire breeding herd lying down on the ground. And Sydney saw it last week or so, lying down. But I don't honestly know the answer to it. There must be between 3 and 4 hours within the day that elephants physically sleep. But at what point they take those naps is hard to say, because they are able to sleep standing up, and they are able to sleep leaning against a tree or against a termite mound. But they don't have the same sort of sleep pattern as ruminants who don't really sleep. They just basically ruminate and meditate. Elephants have to, like us, physically switch themselves off. And by resting their body, that is essentially most of the rest that they do. So anywhere between 20 minutes a day and maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, somewhere around there. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule with elephants. Okay, well, we're going to keep up with this herd. They're walking straight down Twin Dams Road. I've got a strong feeling they're going to go to Chelapan after they've come from Boyatelapan drinking. I'm just going to move up onto the side, but in the meantime, let's go all the way up to David in the Mara.
I'd be more than happy to see elephants like what Steve just had in such an open area because I would want to pest the elephants with our sky, the eastern horizon, and see how colorful that will be. The sun hasn't come up as yet, but it looks pretty bright, and sooner or later I'll be switching off my light and now going to color. Color means I'll not use any infrared to spot any game as much as I haven't seen any. And my plans today is to go to the Sausage Republic. I didn't go there yesterday morning, neither did I go there yesterday afternoon. And I'm happy you're enjoying seeing this color, and Luke says he likes my green shuka. This is one of my favorite shuka. There was another gentleman who decided to step aside a little bit. He was called Brent, and he always had a red shuka. And I thought I'll come with something different and have replaced his red shuka with a green one, because green matches with all the environment that we work on. Anyhow, I was talking about the sausage pride, or the sausage tree pride. I didn't go there yesterday morning, I didn't go in the afternoon, and I want to go there today because possibly if I see them, I would want to go back again in the afternoon. Now, the last I was there, that's 2 days ago, I saw two girls, and the two girls, one of them we call her Kinky, and the other one we haven't given her a name yet, and three were missing because there are always 5 in total. And those 3 are the ones that I would love to see this morning, because those 3, 2 of them got cubs, and to be exciting to see those cubs that we haven't seen. One has 2 cubs, and the other one has 1 cub. It's always exciting to see lion cubs either early morning or early in the evening or late in the evening when they're out there in the open, jumping around and playing. So basically that's my plan today, and possibly I might see them together, because having seen 2 the other day and now there are 3, I'm imagining now they have reunited and they are all 5 together. Now these 2 that I saw, both of them are pregnant, and I'm looking at New Year with new cubs. Who knows? Karen, that's a great comment. It's very true. If we just decide to go down like that in the grass, Karen, even the lions will not know there's a David there. They might even come and walk on me. That's a very great comment. Thank you, Karen, and keep watching, Karen, because if you cross fingers with me, we might be able to see the sausage parade today. Let's go back to Hosanna in South Africa, in Sydney, and find out whether he is up to anything.
So you can see that Hosanna is right on top of the termite mound. There are no mountains here in Juma, so this is the highest mountain he can climb. So I'm sure he doesn't have good mountain climbing skills. He's used to climb these trees. So you can see that he's right on top of the termite mound, and he is busy scanning this area. So he's still up to those impalas up by the quarantine, because that is where his focus is. But at the moment, he's looking for something on top there, maybe some insects. Karen, when we started, the impalas were just approximately 200 meters away. But now I can see, because they were moving right onto the middle of the open area, he decided to leave them, and he extended the amount of meters by going around, following the concealment. And at the moment, he is just monitoring their direction of movement based on the concealment. He doesn't want to approach them at all by the open space. And now he is far a little bit, but still high up on termite mound, looking at them by the open space. So it looks like he's waiting for them to come much closer to the thick bushes here. You can see the beautiful rosette there. Minamu, leopard is a predator. And if you look at the arrangement of the eyes, they are high on top. When this animal is hunting, it depends. During the day, they rely a lot on their eyesight. But at night, it's quite a lot of things involved. It involves the eyesight, the sense of smell, the hearing ability, as well as the whiskers. So whiskers, they play a very significant role when they are hunting undercover at night. So, but now he is just depending on his eyesight, because I can see he is looking at them. You can see those whiskers on top of their eyes. You see there's 3 hairs, long hairs coming out. Those also helps to sense. And the one on the cheeks and these ones here right by the side of the mouth, those are all sense organs. So they are connected to the nervous coordination and the brain. So they can be able to measure the gaps in between the bushes when they are hunting at night. And they can detect the size of their predators or the size of the prey just from those whiskers. You can't see the other side of the eye, of the ear. It's just one ear. Indigo girl, if you look at this animal, that is because of the positioning. You will see when he's on the ground. When we got him, we were very surprised that this cat is bold and is growing. And his stomach is not completely empty. You can see that he has been eating somewhere. So, but because of the positioning, you can see the shoulders as if he is skinny. Mrs. Left wing, that's quite a very good question. Fortunately, when the whiskers disappears, they do grow back. So he's still going to regenerate the lost whiskers. But the challenge is when the whiskers are not there, he does get disorientated. That is the challenge. But after a while, he's going to gain a lot of senses and come back in action nicely. He's still going to hunt. Like I said, it's a combination. And this combination, one can also work without the other. When they don't have whiskers, they're still going to hunt, make use of eyesight and sense of smell and hearing ability. Lorena, they don't really lose the whiskers with age, because these whiskers, they keep coming back constantly every time they lose them. So they've got a very important role to play. So you can see now he is looking at us. Look at that. This is a very nice pose. So let's cross over back to Steve. The elephants, sometimes they also like to climb the termite mounds.
Hello. Hello, Fang. Everybody's happy to see you and your family, and I know everybody's happy to see Hosanna as well. What a start to this Saturday morning. What a start to the Saturday morning. Sydney, he's probably told you already, but we were sitting in the car park waiting to go out. And he's like, I think I just saw a leopard walk past. And he drove around the corner, and well, there was Hosanna. So how incredible. And then thank you to the Zoomies for letting us know that there were elephants on the dam cam. And here we've got Fang herself. And from an observation point of view, it's always interesting to watch these things, because we can see and we know for a fact categorically that elephants eat leadwood trees, because that is what she was feeding on there. So we're quite used to having these really giant leadwoods out there that seemingly are oblivious to all sorts of activity because of their size. But when they are small and when they are reachable, they are definitely eaten. Yeah, she's got another, that's a russet bush willow branch now, I think. Oh no, that's a buffalo thorn. Now those of you who witnessed me doing buffalo thorn last week, Monday, well, that is very painful to the touch. You get your clothes caught on them, you bleed very easily, and well, the elephant is going to take the entire Fang. The matriarch here is taking entire branches of straight and hooked thorns and throwing them in her mouth. It's almost like eating a bag of fishing hooks. Can you imagine? And the elephant has got no problem there. Have a bit of a chew. She's not even chewing them, just swallow them whole. Imagine that going down your throat. I just find it fascinating. And it's basically the classic case of, well, as plants protect themselves, so the animals they protect themselves from get tougher and stronger. And here she's using her foot to push some of the brush-packing branches out of the way from previous elephant damage. Carol, Fang is probably a grandmother in this herd. You can see that her mammary glands between her front legs are not enlarged, which means that she probably doesn't have... Oh, now she's going to use her face to move the branch out of the way. Look at that. She knows that that tree that's been pushed over by an elephant is going to be home to a huge amount of grass that grows underneath there, enjoying the shelter and protection of the branches. There we go. Look at that beautiful grass she's pulling out of there now. Now, that is incredible intelligence. Now, Fang doesn't seem to be lactating, so she's probably not pregnant at the moment, and she probably doesn't have a youngster. It's possible that she's reached that sort of stage of menopause where she might have stopped breeding, or she might just be in an interval between that. But no doubt many of the individuals in this herd are her daughters and sons, and a number of them have probably got their own daughters and sons at the moment. There's generally a 3-year calving interval for elephant, but we're going to quickly go over to the little chief.
Hosanna just quickly jumped here, and I don't know what he was trying to catch. It was something very small, but it looks like he did not win that battle. So you can see that he didn't get anything. He's now moving away, but he jumped very quickly, wanting to catch something. Maybe it was a squirrel or something very small. So let's see. Let's keep following him and see when he's gonna catch something big. We want him to catch something big. Oh, he's right on top of that dead tree there. Oh, again, now I think it's time for him to play. He's hunting and playing at the same time. So you can see him now passing the area where we do the broadcast from the tent. Yeah, maybe we're going to have a better sighting from this angle here. So you can see him now coming out of this area, moving much more towards the quarantine, but approaching it in a very subtle manner. Maybe he's looking for James by the tent. I'm sure he's missing James a lot. So you can see that now he is heading much more toward this area, is towards the quarantine, but he's going to approach the quarantine from the western side of the area. But he's so clever. When he's going to the quarantine, he is still listening to what is on the road. He knows that anything can expose him before he gets there. He's not only focusing on the quarantine. On the road, he's also listening to what is happening. Because one mistake, the animal from these thick bushes can inform the animals which are by the quarantine at the moment. He knows all about that. Maybe there's something he's seeing I cannot see, because you can see that his focus is somewhere down here. So don't get surprised. I will be having some other vehicles coming to join me on this fantastic sighting. Oh, there's a scrub hair. Look now. You can see that it's going down there. He just picked a scrub hair going down the drainage line. So he has just picked a scrub hair going down a drainage line. I can't see the scrub hair, but I'm trying to check here. He's going too fast as well. He's going too fast following that scrub hair there. I didn't even see where that scrub hair got disappeared into, but the scrub hair, I saw it fast moving somewhere there. You can see there it's going there quickly. Maybe the scrub hair picked his presence and decided to go down that way, but I didn't see it happening. I saw the scrub hair at the beginning. So you can see that he is following something right there. And he still keep following. So I'm just gonna see if we can face that direction so that we can see if we can find a space for a better sighting. It's all happening here. You can see how he's approaching there. Look at that. So you can see that he is doing something about it. He's going, and I'm sure he is going to do something about this. Look at that. You can see how he's talking, how he's lowering the head and the body. He is just going very fast, and I want to try and see if we can get to that area. Look, now he's up, high up, still going, still going. So he is still going. So now let's quickly go back to the elephants with Steve.
Thanks, it is. Well, the little chief is always full of all sorts of nonsense in the morning. It just goes to show how many times they probably attempt to hunt and are unsuccessful. We are still with this herd. I'm just going to try and move up a little bit because the little baby is just here. Obviously, mum is quite relaxed. Look how little she is. I can't tell right now what sex it is, but you can see he's only a few months old. How it fits underneath mum's tummy like that. Hello, mum, I'm here. It's so cute. Now, it's trying to use its trunk to pick up things and move its feet at the same time. It doesn't really know what it's doing yet. Mum is a very efficient feeder at the moment already. She's able to use that trunk to pick up grass and rip grass off and to feed exactly how she wants to. And while the little youngster stays very close and learns all of the ideas, learning the ropes of what to feed on and how to feed, it's learning all the time. Big cat, that is cuteness overload. We're just going to move up a little bit, see if we can get another shot. This herd is moving towards the drainage system there. There is a pan over here. I don't know if they're going to splash. It looks like they're going past it. But there's a wonderful tambuti grove just over here. Quite often they like to spend some time underneath when the sun is shining. But we're just going to frame up this little boisterous youngster and watch them move off into the drainage line while Luke sends you back up to the Mara.
In Juma to elephants in the Mara Triangle. I'm not sure how many elephants Steve had, but this is one of the largest families of elephants I have seen in the Mara Triangle in the recent past, because I'm talking of them as a single family and they're definitely on the move. What I'm saying here, what they're doing, I think they might be coming from Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. I'm not very far from the boundary between Kenya and Tanzania, and I think that is where they're coming from. And You notice they're not eating much. They're just moving. And that one cow there, my wild guess, she could be the matriarch. Elephants are very matriarchal, and she looks big by any shape or form. Look at her. You can see the size of her mammary glands, which also would mean to me they look a bit swollen. Maybe she could also be pregnant. Not sure whether that is her calf behind her. And how majestic is this wonderful lighting. And elephants do not migrate, but I've always said elephants. Carol, good question. And you might think those elephants are walking towards water. Where I see them going, in the background there, Carol, you saw Bungay showing us the Ololo escarpment. Bungay is the gentleman who is filming with me today. So if it gets very wet where we are, Carol, now, and it's very muddy, elephants do not like those conditions. And if you see, that's the Ololo escarpment, Carol, in the background, and I think they're looking for slightly bit higher grounds than where they're coming from and where they are. And higher grounds would mean it's a bit drier there, and they won't get what sometimes we call foot rot on their feet. So my guess is that's where they're going. Elephants, as I say, do not migrate like the wildebeest or the zebras, but we say they have what we call mini migration, and they have what we also call corridors, and corridors are kind of paths they tend to use. And if you look at them carefully, they are definitely on the move. If we would see them feeding, they'll move at a much lower pace because there's a lot of food where they are now. And if you look carefully, they are not bothered. They're picking, of course, a plant here, a shrub here, or some small pieces of grass, but they're more on the move than actually eating. Lots of calves in that particular herd. And I think it's one of the most colorful herds I've seen in the Mara Triangle for quite some time. And looking at them carefully, myself and James Henry have always thought the elephants in the Mara are more rounded than the elephants in Juma. I don't know how the elephant Steve herd look like. We're going to compare notes later, maybe if he is still having them or he'll see them later on. The ones in the Mara slightly, not much, slightly larger and also maybe more rounded. And the ones in Juma, to me, they are more angular than the ones here when looking at their body morphology. Making more or less like not a straight line like the wildebeest would do, but you can tell they are definitely on a move somewhere. Carol, I wouldn't be surprised to be going for a drink also, but now the grass at the moment has been very wet. Gary, funniest behavior I've seen from elephants is when they're trying to have a little play, and one of them, was like what, last year, and one of them slid and fell in some muddy water, and the one that thought, on that play won, kept pushing that particular elephant in the water. So every time she tried to come out, because she was slightly bit smaller in size, look at the massive size of tusk on that one. So Gary, the one that pushed the other one in the water, every time the one that fell in the water tried to come out, she kept being pushed in the water. And when she came out, they looked like two very different elephants. One was very dark or very muddy, and the other one had the normal grayish color of the elephants. And when they came out, the one that was the mud and fell in the water was very upset. Not really upset per se, but was not very amused, and she kept chasing the other one like around and round in circles. Exactly. Yeah, that's truly wow, and I'm really enjoying to see this. And I even forgot where I was going, to the Sausage Republic, but I thought this is something special to see these elephants walking from Serengeti National Park in Tanzania and getting to Kenya. Apparently our boundary between Kenya and Tanzania is a very porous boundary. It's open. Silver Dragon, I'm looking at 3 generations. You'd like to know how many generations and this in this herd? I'm looking at 3 generations roughly, and I'm sure Silver Dragon, any females in this herd will always remain here. So I can see the one big female I was showing you earlier, or Bungay was showing you, that most likely is the matriarch, and there were little younger ones than that, which I also think they got calves. So the smallest calves there, to me, looked like to be the third generation in this particular herd. So saying earlier, the boundary between Kenya and Tanzania, it's very porous. So these elephants, or all the animals we have here, will always crisscross the boundary from one country to the other. Fantastic. I got a mission. I got to get to the Sausage Republic. Let's go back to Hosanna in South Africa.
So you can see Hosanna is right in the middle now here, and is heading much more towards south. So far, we cannot tell what exactly he's up to, as he just decided to leave the impalas by the open area, and he's heading somewhere else. But his concentration is still there. Where he's looking now, there is even more impalas in that area, which are part of those who are already at the open space. He's not interested to hunt anything by the open space at the moment. So you can see that now he is just heading somewhere. So that is why these impalas, they are preferring these days to grow their little ones, concentrating by the open spaces. So they know that predators, they can easily spot them. So he might again start to look back at the open space from here. So he's still setting his mission, because now he's going to climb a termite mound. From the high elevation, we will then be able to read his intentions. You can see he's looking, now he's concentrating down there by the open space. He's looking at something. I didn't see what it was, but I could see that he's looking at something. Yeah, you can see, now I can tell you he's now looking at the impalas. So these impalas, he just moved around them. Oh, there's a steenbok as well. Somewhere down there, I saw a steenbok passing by. So maybe that is what now is exciting him. Both steenbok and impalas are at the same place. So now you can see he's using an advantage of going very quickly, moving much more to the area where we saw the steenbok going. And we're just going to keep following and see what this cat is up to this morning. So I can promise you here, he's confused. He doesn't know, he doesn't know what to take from the menu. Impalas, steenbok, everything is just here. So you can see now he is running much more towards this side, but I'm not too sure what he's up to this side. And impalas are chasing each other that side. Those are the male impalas ratting. They are giving something like a warning call, For him to get here, when he was walking up, it took him a lot of minutes. But now when he was running down, it was very, very, very short for him to get here. So here I saw there was a steenbok coming down this direction from where he was now. So he's trying to come you see, from that side, because there's a big termite mound in front, he was running. Because he saw that the steenbok is not going to see him. And now that he's by this side of the termite mound, he's going very slow. He's going very slow. Maybe he's still trying to reallocate. Yeah, this is awesome. Look at that now. Look at that. He's using advantage of these thick bushes to go fast. And animals are playing on the other side. So there's a lot of impalas playing as well on the background, as well as a steenbok which disappeared somewhere here. So by keep following, we might be able to see where the steenbok is. Now I can see that it's going down, it's going down. When it's going down like that, it means he's trying to use the cover in front as a concealment. And I can see that it's going down and down like that. He's going Down. I cannot see where the potential target is, but I can see that he is going down at the moment. Oh, the impalas are very close now. There is a lot of impalas. You see the impalas on the background. He is right. He's going there. I can see that he's going there. And impalas are now against the bushes. When the it's very much thick at the moment here where I am, and the sighting is not very clear, but we'll try by all means and show you everything much as possible. So those ones that you can hear making that noise, it is not a warning call. They are just giving a call because the males are playing. And these impalas are coming towards this direction. So there's a lot of impalas ratting, chasing each other, which is so interesting. He is slowly approaching these impalas. You can see that this cat is so very clever. He saw the impalas in the middle and he did not entertain them. He waited and waited until they moved from the center to the bushes. Now impalas are feeding against the thick bush. That is when it's coming. It's when it's starting to stalk them. But it took him almost an hour now. The wind is on his favor because the wind is blowing from south to north and the impalas, they are on the east. So they cannot manage to pick up his presence from the wind. If they see him here, it will be as a result of an eyesight. And there's grasses as well. Grasses helps a lot. I can see how he's trying to move there. The grasses is helping him. I can even hear the mothers at the moment calling their babies. So if I can be able to free wheel here, just gonna try and free wheel and see if we can move forward a little bit. Just to see if we can. So the ground is wet. When the ground is wet, it's never easy. I can see my camera operator David is even trying to shake the vehicle, but he's not helping. He's not helping at all. So I'm just gonna try and move forward and see if we cannot find them. You cannot see them nicely here. So what I want is to show you both the impalas and Hosanna at the moment. But it's not easy from where I am. I don't want to try that. Maybe it's gonna work from here. Yeah, here we can show you both. Yeah, here we can show you both. So this is where Hosanna is and the impalas are just in front. So you can see that now he's still depending on his concealment. Look at that. So, but there is a very thick bush in front of him. Right in front of him there where he's crawling, there is thick bushes. So if he jumps there, we're not going to see what is going to happen in front. So it's going to take time before we see what exactly is happening. But unless some of the impalas are playing, coming around towards him, that is when we might see an action. But at the moment, I can promise you, it won't be easy. But let's just see what is going to happen. Yeah, this is so close, but there is a barrier. Let me show you the barrier. You will see how thick is that barrier. You see, there is these bushes. These bushes are just a barrier, and it's not a lot of bushes. It's just about maybe 10 meters wide. There is a belt which is like a barrier of trees going up. It's like a windbreak. So these trees are the ones here who are helping him with concealment, which are also again making it difficult for us to see what is happening. You can hear the males are still chasing each other and playing on the other side. That's quite a very big head of these impalas. Look, now he's trying. You see that the grasses helps. Look at that. When he's in the grasses, it's not easy to see him unless you know he's there. He's taking his time. And all the animals are just grazing and not realizing we have got a danger coming. You can see how he's going in between the bushes. Now he's... Look at that. He's now sneaking, crawling, and look, he's right there now in the middle. Look at that. He's observing carefully. He is observing very carefully. So you can see that now he is still scrutinizing and scrutinizing. Normally it can take sometimes up to 30-45 minutes to an hour, but that is determined by a lot of things. For him to give up, there's a lot of things involved. If one of the impala sees him, he's not going to force, he will give up immediately. So there's quite a lot of impalas playing there on the other side, and those impalas are the one which is giving him an advantage because they are not concentrating on anything. And the big males is the ones who are playing. Females are just feeding somewhere in front with their little ones. So now you can see he's still there. So now, while I'm waiting to see what is going to happen, let's quickly go back to Steve and see what is happening there.
Well done, Sidders. I hope you managed to stay with Hosana. He is elusive, but he doesn't give you the slip as badly as Tundi does. Tundi likes to really just disappear. Hosana will disappear through the thicket, and then he'll lie down on the other side and just like wait for you. Look back and go, come on, are you hurrying? There we go. And as soon as you catch up with him again, he'll start moving again. He's such a cool character. Well, anyway, we are driving through the middle of the reserve now. We're going to head up towards Buffelshoek sort of watering hole, see what the rain did to that area, because you felt or you saw that puddle I just drove through. Maybe there's some more moisture in the watering hole from the rain. It all depends on where it fell. I didn't get up to that side yesterday, so we'll see. It was looking in very dire state for some time, and poor Scuba, well, he's not really Scuba at the moment, he's wallowing hippo. The wallowing hippo. But as we go along, we check these little pans and watering holes, because this is quite often where you find activity. Elephants like to splash. These are havens for rhinos in their territory. Rhinos will incorporate mud wallows into their territory, the males will, because they attract the ladies. And well, the more mud wallows you have, the more spas you have, the more ladies you can potentially have. Crested francolins are waking up. Cal 6, you want to know about the Juna clan? I haven't been there in a day or two, but every time I go there, there's no one home. So I don't know what's going on with them. We'll have a little poke in there a bit later, maybe if we don't find anything on the way back. But maybe they've been hiding from the heat. It's a good chance. So hyena tracks all over the place, and we find hyenas regularly around, but we're just not finding them on the den. I did check 2 of the old dens yesterday, and there was no sign, no fresh activity. But I didn't pop my nose into the Djuma den itself. The last few times doing so were unsuccessful. Some hippo tracks here heading back up towards the watering hole, so maybe Scuba is excited for the rainfall and he's decided, let me go back up to Buffelshoek and see if my home is a little bit more wet. We are on the road running through the middle of Djuma called Nyala Road South. The sun is slowly coming up now in the east, and well, this is why it is called Nyala. All the viewers think we got lots of rain. Well, it didn't rain at all last night. It rained yesterday in the morning, and it didn't fall again as far as I'm aware in the evening. I didn't hear anything. I was pretty dead to the world, though, I must admit, but the little puddles we have on the road is just from the drainage, just from the sort of runoff that would have come from the rain we had yesterday morning. But towards Hoedspruit, the sort of town we do our shopping, most of the roads were flooded yesterday. So it is all interesting where the water falls, how the catchment works, and that's why talking about Buffelshoek, the watering hole up there, has got a different catchment to the rest of the areas here on Djuma. So maybe it received more than what we're seeing here, because Vuyatela Dam, empty, Twin Dams, no new water, Treehouse as well, no new water, well, nothing of any significance anyway. But obviously, as we're going along, looking to see if one of the leopards or the big cats, you said last time you watched everything was brown and grey. Well, it's getting greener and greener by the day. And the rain we had yesterday wasn't a huge downpour. It was a nice soft pitter-patter of rain. And that rainfall really benefits the grass layer because it doesn't seep in too deeply, although the soil here is very porous, so it does go in. It doesn't sit too much like it does up in the Mara, but it goes to the sort of the surface area where the roots of the grasses are dominating. When we get really high rainfall, there's huge runoff, and well, that benefits the trees which are accessing the water table. It's generally why in the spring months you'll see the trees coming back to life long before the grasses do, because the trees are being activated by daylight change and by the access to water, whereas the grasses, most of them aren't able to access the water table, but they are able to access nice downpours that saturate the soil. So we're going to be crossing Central in a moment, moving along this drainage, seeing if we can find the territorial male Tingala moving through, or maybe even any sign of Thandi and her precious little daughter, who I still have not seen. But in the meantime, let's go and see if Sydney has managed to find or keep up with Hosana.
Here where I am at the moment, Hosana is still now hiding, make use of this concealment right in front, and the gap now between him and the impalas is just about 250-300 meters. Impalas are feeding, going much more towards the open space again, and I don't think he's going to follow them right now, but I will just try and see if we can reallocate him as we gave him a chance in order to hide somewhere. Here he is hiding somewhere in these bushes. So we were waiting here just to see him coming out and his intentions. So the leopard can hunt nyalas. We have seen that. And nyalas are way much bigger than their prey mostly. They target from 25 to 40 kilograms. So up to the size of the warthog, that is what they take. So, but normally they take something small such as the duiker, because the duikers are much more easy for them to lift up into a tree. So they just range from 18 to 25 kilograms. easy for him to defend that kind of a prey. But if he takes something big and which is going to battle to take it up into a tree, then it's going to be a challenge, because competition on the ground with hyenas is always very high. So we're just going to try and allocate him. I'm going to reposition now and see if maybe we can pick him up again. Oh, I can see he's there. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara, where David is just waiting.
Now, I've gotten to the Sausage Republic. What I need to do now is to find out where they are. But in the meantime, I got two young boys here of elephants, not sure where they're going and where they're coming from. I'm just guessing the boys to my left here, and they should be getting or looking for some females to join with. Hello, boys. And look at that background there, how beautiful it is. And that's part of the southern horizon. And anytime you see one elephant or two in general, it will be a male, or there will be two males, because males will tend to be on their own. And you can tell the size of these two boys here. The one on the left is massive, he's huge by any standard, and apparently he seems to be missing one tusk. Yes, that's right. Come on. I need you to get out of the way for me to confirm what I'm saying. Ravinda, good morning, and is it a good afternoon or good evening where you are? You said this is magical. Yes, Ravinda, because Bungay Ravinda is doing the best he can to give you such a colorful background there. Thank you, Ravinda, and I hope you've been well and you have been enjoying your, festive season. So he seems to have one tusk. Not sure whether he was born like this or he had both and then lost one along the way. Occasionally, we have seen elephants having two, and sometimes out of little fights here and there, they lose the other, or maybe age. I'm looking him to be a very senior citizen, and chances are he could have lost one. Look at him in the background of the sky there and the clouds. How cute is that? Picking grass and being on the move. Oh, what would happen is, it's not very normal. Let me just turn around it a bit. And it's quite unusual to see elephants going for each other. The only time they may go for each other is when they have issues with resources of, say, water. We have seen them at watering holes. That's good? Okay, Bungay likes that. We have seen them once in a while, like going for each other when there's a limited of resources of water. Sorry, Bunga, about that. And I see why you wanted me to turn around is because of the sunrise there. So yeah, it really happens that we see elephants going for each other. When we see elephants fight is when we see males fighting over mating rights for the females. But in general, the families are always very peaceful, and the matriarchs will do the best they can to avoid any conflicts, especially if they're young calves in the herd. So they'll always make sure if they meet on a watering point, either one herd will drink, and once it's done, it moves, and the other herd comes in. Now, on the ground there, you see some little white birds jumping up, and those are egrets. And what these egrets do, they wait until these ellies move, and as the ellies move, they disturb the grass. And there's so many, all sorts of insects you think of, jumping up and down, and that's exactly what they are catching. Not sure to call that a symbiotic relationship, because I do not know what the elephants benefit with that, but of course the egrets are getting a wonderful moment this festive season, feeding on all the insects that are jumping up and down. Massive size of an elephant, eh? Huge boy. Bungay, do you agree? Safari lady, how are you? And yes, these egrets here are having a wonderful time, and they're enjoying getting all these insects jumping up and down. You're right, Safari lady, and I hope you're enjoying our morning drive, eh? massive size of an elephant by any standard. Look, almost coming or getting to the same size as the tree line in that lager there. So that tree line there, or that lager, is the area I've always seen the sausage girls I'm talking about. And for those who are joining us now, when I talk of the sausage girls, is Sausage Tree Pride, the group of lions or pride that lives around this area that I named the Sausage Republic, and I'm so chuffed up this morning, hoping I'll be able to catch them. The whole of yesterday I didn't get here, but I'm just hoping today I should see them. There's no reason why I shouldn't see them, because this is where they live. It's a beautiful sunrise in the background there, and that's the eastern horizon from Kenya. Well, I'm here and I need to do all my magical work to get these lions or the lionesses out of where they are. I'm sure Sydney want to tell us something about Hosanna.
Hosanna is just pretty much relaxed at the moment, as if it was not him who was seen doing some hunting earlier on. He was sleeping, he just woke up now. So those impalas, they just left the area. They are now just in the middle of the quarantine. He's still going to carry on with his hunt, because I can see that he is hungry. He's looking at the quarantine now. He's looking at the vehicles who are pulling out at the moment. So those impalas, none of them managed to spot the presence of Hosanna. That's why I'm saying he's still going to carry on with the hunt. They just moved here because they are going to graze there for safety reasons, but none of them spotted this dangerous cat at the moment. Look at that. I didn't copy that question nicely. If you can repeat that for me. You mustn't forget that these kind of animals, when they're hunting, they hunt and they approach much closer to a distance of less than 10 meters. 5 meters, when the animal is too close, they launch a surprise attack. So there's no need for him to chase the animal. Leopards don't prefer to catch a fleeing animal. They prefer to jump and just surprise an animal. So the ground doesn't matter. So it's not going to chase them. So, but when it comes to the predator, pursuit predators who prefers to catch an animal when it's fleeing, then it's a challenge. It's a challenge to both the predator and the prey, because the prey animals, the hoofs as well, can dig and reduce the speed. And the predators, they also bring out their claws in order to grab the ground so that they can pull. So it's 50-50. So it just got the yeah, it was. Now you can see he's heading back towards the eastern side, the western side again. He's not going to the open area at all. He doesn't want to advertise his presence at the moment. So now there is a big competition between Juma and Mara. Mara has got the beautiful lions.
Well, Hosanna being on the move, I also decided to move after I saw the two elephants. And from a distance, if you look between those two elephants, there's one lioness somewhere. And I'm like, yes, I've gotten my prize this morning. And this is one member of the Sausage Tree Pride. How beautiful is this? I feel so good. because the whole of last night when I went to bed, I kept dreaming about the sausages. I kept dreaming about these girls. I got a feeling today they might be all together, because the last I saw them 48 hours ago, I only saw 2 girls, and the other 3 were missing. The 3 that were missing are the ones that count to me, because they're the ones that have the cubs. I just heard woo. Woo. I'm not sure. Zephyr, that is true, and this is a great shot. This is what Bungay like calling 2-shot, and 2-shot Zephyr is when you get 2 subjects at the same time, and that's exactly what Bungay did for you, Zephyr, and all the other wonderful viewers. Thank you, Zephyr, for that comment. So where those 2 elephants are, that's the track I want to use to get to the lions, but I can't do anything until these elephants are out on the way. You don't play about with boys, especially the fully grown males, and if they could be in must, sometimes they're a bit grumpy. So I'm just gonna wait here, and as soon as they give me a clearance, because that to me is like a roadblock, I'll be able to go closer to that one particular girl, and I'm imagining the other sisters or cousins are not very far from where she is. That truly, Zephyr, is a great shot to have 2, the lioness and the big elephant male together, and the wonderful green color that we currently have in the Mara. Charlotte, it's quite unusual. Elephants and lions are enemies, and of course, look at the size of those 2 animals. I mean, like an elephant could be like what, almost like 50 times bigger than a lioness. Chances are 0, Charlotte, that would happen. But once in a while, we have seen groups of lions or herds of lions going for baby elephants. If elephants are, babies, calves are abandoned, or they go astray, or they get lost, we have seen once in a while lions going for them and actually hunting them and eating them, but not for an adult. I mean, that lioness has no chance. Elephants being so big, so powerful, a little trunk, gonna toss the lioness up like a tennis ball. So you have that one particular member there, and there's another member I see way in the bushes, and my feeling is today we got the 3 of them. Now, Bungay, if you go to that elephant on the right, you can see how they break trees. He just brought down a whole branch of a magic ngware tree, and the only competitors of giraffes when we talk of eating tall big trees are bull elephants or male elephants. Occasionally they stand on their hind legs and they pull, their front legs up, and they reach very high branches to bring down. Are you doing the same here? Yes, these 2 elephants are doing the same. So they just use their long trunks, and just grab a branch, bring it down, and Charlotte, that's what I was saying, these elephants, that's how they would easily catch, a lioness and just, toss it up in the air. Very strong trunks, very tall, lots of muscles in them. Elephants, I want you to give me way, and once you're out of the road, I'll be able to reach those lioness, because where they are, there's only one small little track that they may use. Because any other area I might risk passing, I'll definitely get there. But I'm very excited, to have seen my favorite pride of lions in their sausages, and I'm sure Sydney is equally happy with Hosanna.
Hosanna is now heading much more up this side. I can see he's right there in between the bushes, looking at this direction where I am at the moment. So he is, now you can see he's going down. Maybe he has spotted something, because you can see his movement is no longer the same. You can see that he is going with the head facing forward, and he is now starting to lower the body. he's starting to lower the body close to the ground. Maybe he spotted something, but I'm not seeing what he's spotting yet. And he left the impalas there. It means this is another second potential target. So he's just now behind those bushes. I just want to see what his target is. It looks like his target is right somewhere in front. Look at that. You can see how he's going down. Yeah, you see that now. I can promise you there is a potential target. I'm not seeing the potential target yet. There is a big fallen tree in front and a big termite mound, which makes it very difficult for us to see what exactly he is targeting. And he is approaching very nice and slow. He's taking his time, and he's now using the tree. There is quite a lot of trees at the moment in order to hoist the kills and the amarulas. I can see the leaves are back as well. They can easily hide nicely their prey. I can see now he's using an advantage of another fallen tree in front. Oh, he's now relaxed. He's just sitting somewhere there in between those bushes. I'm just gonna reverse a little bit so that we can have a good sighting. Maybe we're gonna see him much better from here. So there is some other vehicles here where I am, and they're also having a sighting from the other angles. Yeah, it's right here. Yes, to the right, in the middle of the, yes, right, the bush in the middle of that bush, yes. You can see it's right in the middle of those dry branches there. Hosanna still has got a very long way to go. Normally, look at that, the leopards can survive 15 to 17 years here in Djuma. And it's only about 2 years and a couple of months. As I'm talking to you now, he will be celebrating his 3 years birthday in February this year. So it means to 17 years, he still has got 14 years to go. He's still very much young. So the fallen tree on the left is the tree he was using as an advantage to avoid any detection by whatever he was trying to stalk when we got here. Maybe he's trying to sniff that some of the animals are staying under that fallen tree, because animals such as Daker and Steenbok, they stay under these bushes. You can see he's sniffing the area there. The impalas are very much nice to eat. So Conrad is feeling hungry now because of the leopard hunting. So I'm just going to reverse again and see if we can improve this sighting, because now I can see that this beautiful leopard is heading much more towards south, and ahead of us there is a drainage line. Maybe he's going to the drainage line. So, but I'm just going to keep following and see if we can find him again. So now let's quickly cross over back to Steve and see how his leopard search by Central is doing.
Well, thanks, Sidders. Well, all we have been able to find this morning is some hippo tracks, which we have just over here. Hippos are up and down, the only animals that seemingly need to move around in the rainfall. Here you can see the toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the very big foot. There's one foot and there's the other foot over there. So hippos obviously move, they need to go feed on grass, but most of the other animals won't go very far. Seeing as there's water in and around on the landscape, well, they can drink wherever they are. And moving to a water source is potentially dangerous because there's animals like the Avoca males and Hosanna lurking. So the predators do move as well, but at the moment it's possible that most of them have got some form of food, and well, if they do, there's no need to move. So we're checking our eastern boundary with Cheetah Cutline. Buffelshoek Dam was looking absolutely dismal, not a single drop extra of water in there, well, seemingly not, and Scuba Steve nowhere to be seen. Could these be Scuba's tracks? Could he be heading down towards Chitwa to go hang out with some other individuals, going for maybe an early New Year celebration? Trish, you like hippos? Hippos are funny animals, aren't they? They really are unique unto themselves. I mean, it's just so crazy, a hippo being equivalently the same size as a rhino, needs far less food than a rhino does. Probably only about a third, because obviously they act like a reptile. They act like a crocodile. When they are hot, they go in the water. When they are cold, they sit in the sun. So they don't rely as heavily as we do on metabolic energy, or most mammals. All mammals rely on metabolic energy, whereas the hippo's got that sort of crocodile trade-off. They're able to obviously use their environment to keep them cool and to keep them warm. And another amazing strategy, 9-month gestation period. That's the same as a human. Whereas a rhino, white rhino, is 15 months, 14 months for black rhino. Unbelievable. Only 3 months though for a lion.
Well, very good job, Steve. Having looked at all those tracks of hippos, I'm not able to look for any tracks here because this lioness is walking on the grass, and I don't want to call her lioness because I know her and I know who she is. We call this particular lioness Kinky Tail, and I'm feeling full of joy this morning because I've been able to catch up with my favorite pride of lions here in the Mara Triangle, that is called the Associated Pride. Now look at the belly of that girl, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me. She is pregnant, and very pregnant. I'm not sure even what I'm talking about, but I'm saying this girl in under 3 weeks. I could be wrong because I predicted another girl in this particular pride would be giving birth by about a week ago, and she did not. So yes, I agree with all of you. Thank you for celebrating with me. She is very pregnant, and maybe I'll give it, let me say, New Year. Kinky, can you give us new cabs on New Year? It's possible. Well, for those who are joining us now, this particular pride of lions I got here is called the Sausage Tree Pride, and this particular individual here is called the Kinktail. And in this pride, she is the oldest and she is the pathfinder. She is the leader. We call her Kinktail because if you look on her tail, she got that bend, and she got a knot, and that's why we call her Kinktail. How majestic to see her just walking in front of us in the car. Look at that belly. As much as I'm sure she may have eaten, but definitely she got a cab or two. Dory, thank you for predicting 4 carbs. Dory, I might be with you, Dory. I'll be with you. 4 carbs will make a lot of sense because, Dory, that belly is huge by any standard. Let's keep to 4 carbs. I don't know what the other viewers think. Please send me some tweets, #SafariLive, of how many carbs you think Kinktail is carrying. I'm requesting all of you to send some tweets. Look at that belly. She just posed for all of you, and I can tell for you to estimate how many carbs do you think are in her belly. #SafariLive on Twitter. Tell me how many carbs. All right, folks. I mean, Luke advises me. Let's do a Q and say, between 2, 3, and 4, how many cubs do you think she is carrying? 2, 3, or 4, how many cubs do you think Kingtail is carrying? They get 1, sometimes they get 2, 3, or 4. But now let's work on 2 because the minimum would be 2. And I'll show you a small little surprise because I've seen something coming out of the bush. Look at that. Look at that youngster there. And there's an elephant breaking a tree in the background. And that is one of the newest cubs in this pride. Initially when I got here, I saw them. And the 2 elephants we had, before, pushed these cubs out of where they were. And I think the mother told them, let's go and hide somewhere. So one of them is sneaking out, coming out slow. And I hope even the other one will come. Because in total, we got 3 cubs here. 2 which are about 4 months old and 1 that's about 3 months old. The 1 month old, his mother is called Kinky. I'm saying his mother because I know he is a boy. Where did you go now? So that particular elephant is trying to intimidate these cubs, and I'm sure once that elephant goes away, they may come out. So remember my poll, I requested you, let us tweet on how many cubs you think Kingtail could be carrying. She just laid down there because she is very heavy, very pregnant as I said, and walking could be a bit of a challenge. And I'm looking at the new year if she brings down the cubs. 2, 3, or 4. So just tweet #SafariLive on Twitter. How many cubs do you think that girl would be carrying? Well, my guess, let's say 4. Bungay, how many do you think? Bungay says 3. Bungay says 3. And being quite a senior citizen, this girl here, it's very possible she could do 3. Bungay, you could be right. But we're looking at when? Today is the 29th. So another 4 days, 5 days max. It was very good, to see those cubs. And so long as that elephant is there, I think they're getting instructions from their mama. Don't take chances. Of course, the elephant will not kill the cubs to eat them, but because they get a little bit uncomfortable with the cubs, chances are they tromp on them or they just chase them and they might, fracture their legs. So Kinky, as one of the mother of the cubs here, will not want that to happen. And that's why they've been told, come on guys, take refuge, hide, until these bull elephants are out of this area. We're going to wait here and hopefully these cubs will come out and have some other good visuals, because they're just in that thicket there where Bungay is framing. They didn't go anywhere, they are right inside there. So in there we got 2 females plus Kinky that just came in, that makes 3, and there are 2 females elsewhere. I don't know where they are, because when they are together they are always 5 in group. I want to spend a few more minutes here waiting. And Steve Ovo, what is your latest?
Thanks, David. The Sausage Tree Pride cubs, how cute are they? And Kinky Tail, I'm glad she is officially showing signs of pregnancy. Well, folks, this is not for sensitive viewers. It is. We've just passed Christmas. We're nowhere near Easter, and seemingly we're not going to be near Easter for many months, because right here, the Easter Bunny has been killed. I'm not quite sure what has happened here, but not many times in my life have I seen a scrub hare just lose its face. So this is a youngster, and it was missing one entire ear, and the whole face is gone. That's possibly a wildcat. I'm just going to turn it over. Okay, poor fellow. Look at how the head is moving. Missed, sorry. It hasn't been dead. Sorry about that bit of humor, folks, but it is dead. This is nature. It's quite freshly dead. You can see that rigor mortis has not set in. It's still very, very fresh, but this is a youngster. And what has happened, who knows? Maybe a small cat, maybe Tlalamba caught it. It's been seen before, leopards catching things and just kill it and walk off. That's something known in young individuals. Adults would eat it. Adults don't kill for the sport. Adults sometimes kill. Hang on, and they'll just keep going. But that could potentially have been just a bite mark. But it's nice to see to be able to see the feet of the scrub hare. And often when we talk about the tracks in the sand, we talk about how it looks like the scrub hare is walking on socks, because you can't actually see the pads here because it is the fur that is covering. But there are a couple. There's a bite mark over here. Well, there's blood on the chest, and there's also blood here on the rump. So a very characteristic sort of thing if it's still moving. No, not moving, but it hasn't got stiff. So a leopard would have probably caught it, or a wildcat, with the claws and then bitten off the face. Well, the ants have found it already. Here is a little bit of the face that was bitten off, a little bit of cartilage there, a bit of fur plucked off. Lauren, I have no idea. If for example, it caught one and saw another one and jumped after that one, that potentially could happen. I've been looking around here for some tracks, and I don't see any relevant sort of tracks around. So who knows? Well, what I am going to do is I'm just going to move it off the pathway onto the side here, and then allow the rest of nature to take its course. Sorry, Mr. Scrub Hare. I don't think it felt too much pain. Just going to put it here in the middle. Say a few kind words. Goodbye, Scrub Hare. But no doubt Mr. Hosanna himself would like something like that, but that would just be a very small hors d'oeuvre.
So you can see that the little chief is now relaxing on top of the termite mound. The hunting is over now. It's time to rest and carry on hunting later on. So you can see when that copy of the termite mound is like that, any animal approaching from the northern side won't be able to see him there, because he's using an advantage of that copy in order to hide. So the weather is still on his favor. Chances are very high that he might wake up at any time and then carry on hunting. So the cats can be able to sleep long hours, but when it's overcast, the hours get reduced, because they must have to use that overcast as an advantage in order to hunt. When it's too hot, they get very discouraged. And leopards are one of those animals who doesn't want to run long distances. They prefer to walk. They try by all means and conserve energy. So they only use energy when it's worth it. Rosinda, Tingana has not been spotted for quite a while now. The last time I have seen Tingana, it was about 6-7 days ago. And I haven't heard any updates about his whereabouts. The last time I saw him, he was heading towards the Buffalo's Hook. So I'm not too sure if he's back yet. And he has not been sowing as well. You know, every time when Tingana is around, we know at night and early mornings he's going to patrol his territory, and you will hear him sowing. We haven't heard that for a while now. TMX, I didn't copy your question nicely. Oh, now he's trying to hide the paw. I think he's dreaming now. So you can see the paw nicely there. So they do have some hairs here on these paws, and they serve as a silencer. When these animals are walking by the hard surface, it's very much difficult for a prey animal to pick them up because this hairs helps them in order to contain the sound. So it's very soft. So the middle paw, if you check this big pad, some of the leopard, they've got some cracks there, which helps in order to identify them on the ground. Sometimes we don't have to see an animal in order to identify it. We can also, from the tracks, by looking carefully at the track, be able to identify amongst this leopard and distinguish them very easily. So this is called a digitigrade track because you can see the digit. It's the animal who walks on his toes. And you can even see the last pad right on top. So this is one of the difference between cats and dogs. The dew claw right on top, the dogs don't have. So these cats, they've got that dew claw. So now let's quickly cross over to the Masai Mara where David is waiting to show you what the lions are doing now.
Well, it's strange when a cat goes flat because it goes flat, not much you can do about it. Mine did not go flat, but disappeared in that thicket there and have not moved from where I was, and I'm not moving because I still got some hope. You want to come out. That big elephant that was trying to intimidate or push around the cubs is what caused them to get in that lager or in those thickets there, and the mother just went and told them, stay put here until this ellie is gone. I can see the ellie from where I am, and that's why I decided I'll wait. Very good, and I just got results of the poll from my friend Luke in the final control, and most of you viewers are saying 3 cubs is a possible number when Kinktail will drop her cubs in maybe in the next few days, and that's about 60%. So I think the 3 number, you have won, and congratulations. Personally, and me and Bungay, we also thought of the same, so we all think 3 will be the number. So 60%, my friend Luke in the final control have told me is what most of you have said, that Kinktail, once she drops her young ones, it will be about 3. So we all think she is carrying 3, and I also agree she is also carrying 3. Well, hopefully we're gonna stick with that and see what happens in the next few days. So this one Ellie, this is fine. He went in a different direction, and this is the male who I think is trying to go and join those females there in the background. Of the 2, one of them looked bigger than the other, and this is the guy, and this one had the one tusk. And as I was saying, when during the breeding time or when they're in must, elephants are a little bit grumpy. Their testosterone hormones are always a bit imbalanced, and they behave in a funny way, and you don't want to take any chances because they could be angry and do something wrong. And I got a feeling those lions read, or those lionesses read the mood of these 2 Ellies, and especially this one, and I thought, you know what, we don't want to take any chances with our cubs, so let's keep our cubs safe in a hidden area in the lager until maybe this male elephant is gone. Well, I can't wait for those new cubs to come. I'm getting very excited every other day. Now, the other cubs that we saw, at least one of them, and I guess that's one of the bigger ones, at 3 months, 4 months, I think they're just about to make it. They're quite vulnerable before they get to 6 months, and I just hope and cross fingers they're gonna make it to adulthood. Hello, Ellie. If you could only move, you have every right and reason to be where you are to feed, but if you could only move. Bob, good question. When the tusks fall off, are they able to grow again? No, they will not. And unlike, say, the animals or antelopes that you call the deers, which will keep shedding their antlers or horns every other season, once an elephant loses his tusks, that's it. And that's what they also apply to the antelopes in Africa, be they elands, impalas, Thompson gazelles, ground gazelles, kudus, waterbacks, name it. Once they lose their tusks, that's it. So this one either lost one or it was born without one, but that's it. If it was born with two and lost one out of old age, an infection, for example, or it had a fight maybe with another bull elephant, or maybe he was trying to break trees as we saw him do earlier, and maybe it got a weak point and then it fell off, that's it. So he's going to survive with one now for the rest of his life. It's time to eat spaghetti. You see how elephants use their trunks, round and hold the grass. Connie Webb, you would like to know whether tusks are a concern to elephants. Not really, because they count and they're very important. A few reasons the tusks come in handy for elephants, especially the males. When they fight, the tusks are very important because they'll use them to poke each other's either eyes or necks or ears or heads or other parts of the bodies when they have a little disagreement. But above all, the elephant's tusks are very important if they need to break down trees, if they'll need to dig something, if they need to, say for example, open the cambium or the back of a tree, they become in very handy. But it's very unusual for them to become a concern or a hindrance. They never get so big, but occasionally we have seen elephants, not maybe anymore, that have had very huge and long tusks, and when walking you could see them either struggling, and when they would maybe try to reach the grass or reach other vegetation to feed on, excuse me, you could see the tusks were coming on their way. But in general, we have seen, the evolution of elephants, the sizes are just proportional to their bodies, and they don't become an encumbrance to them when they're feeding or doing what they need to do. A few elephants that you see without tusks, you'll always tell they don't look as strong or as, good looking as an elephant that have both tusks on. So very, very unlikely that elephant's tusk will be a concern to them. It's just like an elephant losing its trunk or getting half a trunk. They don't perform very well. Annette, thank you very much. Thank you for following, and I'm happy that you are enjoying all these nice stories of the elephants here in the Mara Triangle. And yeah, very good comment. Thank you for sending it through. And as usual, we'll always request you for comments or any questions, and you can send them as usual on Twitter using hashtag SafariLive. That one has a little calf, the one in the middle there. You just saw her opening her ear, but we still got very good temperatures here. So in general, they keep feeding without flapping their ears a lot because the temperatures are still quite low. Especially this one male you see here. Apart from wagging his tail once in a while, the ears remain like pretty not flat, but just next to the body, until it warms up later in the day, and then you see a lot of flapping when they try to cool off. Well, I'll wait for my lions here to see if they'll come out a few more minutes. If not, I'll move on looking for something else, and let's go back to Steve Ovo for his update.
Lots of activity up in the Mara. I just love the elephants up there. Well, easier to find than here with the thickets that we have right now. Elephants just disappear. Well, we're still searching for some tracks along the road here, and it's still mainly just hippos. Seems like Scuba Steve really had a party. Maybe he had a bit of a dam party there. Now everyone's gone somewhere else for the weekend. Lots of hippo tracks moving away. Oh, what's that up there? We got a bird up top there. Let's see if we can identify him. Sounds like a bit of a songbird. Potentially a currachane thrush. Oh, very nice. It's not a currachane thrush. I wonder if anybody has seen this bird before. It has got stripes on the chest and is often seen on the ground. And, well, if you had to guess, and you guessed ground scraper thrush, well, then you would be 100% correct. I thought initially the currachane thrush, as they like to sit up on top there, but this is a male shouting himself to the wilderness after the rainfall and after surviving the night. It is what birds do. There we go. Oh, hang on, there is a plum-coloured starling behind him now. Now, the plum-coloured starling female, or violet-back starling female, looks very much like the thrush, but have a look at the size difference there. The violet-back starling female is not bigger than the male. You saw how much bigger that thrush is there than the male. Maybe he thought, ooh, my lady has learnt a new language. But I'll show you this quickly, because I thought that was a very nice sort of connection. He thought, because they do look very similar, it's quite common that you will see Paula is quite plump. It is quite common to see or to confuse female. Let me just see. So this is the female violet-back starling. You can see she got the streaky chest. Very, very streaky. But look at that beak. It's a very starling-like beak. It's quite sharp. And I'm just going to move. Oh, some cuckoo's calling. African cuckoo call. Cuck, 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 cuck. And I'm just going to show you the thrush quickly, and you'll see the difference. Ground scraper thrush. There we go. And you see it's quite a similar sort of appearance in the chest. That very streaky sort of chest, but the beak is much longer and a little bit what we call decurved. Decurved. Very similar, but much bigger in size. And I think he suddenly flew up there, the violet-back starling, and thought, wow, my lady has got a really nice voice. And he stood there and he was like, wow, she's big. And off he flew. Very nice, ground scraper thrush. Normally found on the ground, but commonly to be seen flying up into the tree there for a little bit of a sing-song, as you can see. And when a male and female look quite similar, what differentiates them is the beautiful song. Well, talking about beautiful males and what differentiates them, definitely we are looking for Thandi, but someone who is now much bigger than her is her younger brother.
Hosanna is enjoying his sleep at the moment. He's not moving at all. I think all the energy he lost when he was trying to hunt this morning, he wants to just regain them. He lost quite a lot of strength by concentrating on those impalas and the steenbokkies earlier on. Now it's time for him to rest. So you can see that he's resting right on top of the termite mound by this time of the day. Normally he's going to be doing this under the thick bushes when it's too hot. So, but because of the weather, he's right on top of this termite mound. What we are seeing now, it doesn't mean if any other animal present itself, it's just going to leave it. He's still going to take action against all the prey animals coming to this area. And see, it doesn't look like a leopard. It's like a folded pangolin. Yeah, the lions and leopards, they've got same kind of behavior during the day when it's too hot. Specifically after having a meal, all they want is to sleep and give the digestive system much more chance in order to dissolve the food. So too much food in the stomach also disadvantage these animals if any other animal comes. So that is why they must have to lose a lot of weight so that they can go for hunting. These animals can eat up to 30 to 40 kilograms and they still have got to drink water on top of that. So it becomes heavy. That's why after drinking, most of the time you'll see them lying down not very far away from the water holes. So those kind of spots are the ones that he is always relying on when he's hunting, like we saw this morning. And by the tall grass, these roseate spots are perfect, because I couldn't see him as well when he was stalking those animals, crawling on his stomach by the ground. So he's hiding away his tail. Normally you see him lying down with his tail just hanging at the back. Lana, that is quite a very good question. Hosana, when he is fully matured, let's say Hosana is about 4.5 years or 5 years now, and he is interested, the testosterone level, the hormones which are responsible for the sexual activities are high up enough for him to do that. The possibilities for him to move the area, they are very high. So if you can check now, Tingana, the father, is about 13 years old. And Hosana is just about 3 years old, which means when Hosana is about 4 years, Tingana will be 14. And if you can check the life expectancy of Tingana, it might be 15 to 17 years. He is left with only approximately 4 years to go. And he is left to mature with only 2 years now, 1 or 2 years. So it means the time he is matured, if Tingana's strength is still very strong, chances for him to be kicked out from this territory, they are very much high. But also, if he defeats Tingana, he's still going to face another challenge with some other males. Tingana is not the only male in this area. We do have other very strong males such as Hukumuri, the males we have seen displaying their aggressive behavior towards both Tingana and Hosana. Possibilities of Hosana at the end of the day to vacate this territory, they are very much high. Unpredictable. Maybe because of nutritious food and strong strength, he might be the winner. We're not sure. But let's hope for the best. We still want to see Hosana in this area. He is quite a very interesting animal, and I am falling in love with him. But my favorite is his father, Tingana. So don't get confused. There are people talking not very far away from where we are. They are also enjoying a sighting. So at this stage, I'm going to take you far to David Gatamba Gitu, who is still with the lion, I believe.
Well, leopard territories are very protected, just like the sausages protect this particular area. And why I named it the Sausage Republic is because those lions, you'll always find them here. And they have not allowed any other pride in this area, not even other predators like the hyenas. In general, lions or lionesses will get 1 to 4 cubs after about 3 months. And as we have all agreed on the poll, we think Kingtail might have 3. Now, they did not come out from the thickets they were in. I thought, it's good. I also give them space and give them their kind of time, because those elephants were there intimidating them. And then I thought I also don't want to be the second party trying to intimidate those lions. And maybe by me moving, those elephants might also leave the same area. And because I know where they are, I'll be coming back to that same area this afternoon. William, that's a very good question. Can the pregnant lioness still hunt? Yes, it's possible. And you'll be surprised that The one, Limpy is one of the females there that has one cub. Unfortunately, she had two, and she lost one, and we don't know what happened. And when she was pregnant, I remember seeing her going for a hunt, and she was very successful. Well, when they're very close to popping up their cubs, they may not. But even when they're pregnant, lionesses have been known to be very good hunters, and comfortably they'll be able to get the food. Now, there's one particular female there that is not pregnant. So what we think, or we've been thinking, she has been doing the major job. So the other four, you know, lions when they hunt, they tend to lay an ambush. So the other four, the two with cubs and kinky tail, and the other one is pregnant, could do what we call pushing, you know, pushing the prey towards this one particular one. But when it would come to the chase, this one that's not pregnant would do the long chase on running. So little Jacko there, running some of the grass. I don't know where the Jacko is going and what she's up to and why she's alone. The Jackos in general go in twos. Yes, so even when a female lioness is pregnant, it could easily hunt because it needs to survive, and it also needs to feed the cubs that would be coming, you know, before they're born. That's what we call a silver-backed Jacko or black-backed Jacko. It's on the move, it's on the run, not sure where she's coming from, where she's going, maybe looking for food or going to join the mate. Jackos are very monogamous, always going in a pair, a male and a female. Either she stayed out last night, she needs to get back home quickly. Who knows? Yeah, that's not a stalking. Pace is not a hunting. Speed is a speed to get home. Not concerned or bothered by the buffaloes. The buffaloes might have a little quick look at him, at her. Are you looking for your mate? Is your mate behind you? Haha. Keep running. And definitely she must be late to get home, I would guess. But she's stopping, looking back. I'm not sure she's looking at the mate. Organware, yes, it could be a morning jog because the way she is walking, it could be very similar to toning her muscles. I mean, they're very good hunters, you know, the Jackos, as much as sometimes we think they scavenge a lot, but most of their food, they hunt it themselves. So it could be a morning jog when it comes to hunting. She'll be in very good shape to either chase, and they'll always hunt small little lambs or fawns or antelopes here in the Mara Triangle. Do disappear in the grass. She's just somewhere there. There she is. She was hiding behind that Taman mound and still on the run. I think she just wants to get home. And as you know, we're going to say it. David, how are you today? And I'm sure it's the same David who shares my name and looks like Coyote. I would say, David, the Jackos are related to coyotes. And as you said, similar, the Jackos from a distance are related to the coyotes. And at times, I call them our African coyotes. Very good comment, David. Disappeared somewhere, and that was not a bad sighting to see a Jacko in the morning, having seen my lions. My morning seems to be doing very good. So we need to get Paka on the road and move forward. Okay. All right, my lions decided to go in that little tickets there and decided maybe to have a nap. But I think Hosanna is not ready to have a nap.
You can see that now we've got Hosanna still at the same area on a different position at the moment. He's up because the elephants are breaking down trees somewhere not very far. So he did manage to pick up the elephant breaking down branches. Maybe they might appear at the same spot at any time, but there is quite a lot of movement of the elephants ahead of him, and we can also pick up a very distinctive smell of the elephant body not very far. Now that the elephants are wet because of this drizzling and rain, you can easily pick them up from a long distance from just a sense of smell. Carol, unfortunately, when it comes to these kind of predators, Tingana is not just going to give up and give him the territory. There has to be that kind of a display. Hosana must have to show off his level of aggression and his ability and capability of defending this territory. So they're not going to reconcile and say, take it, is fine, I am going to retire now. It's not going to happen like that. So, but this is normal. The possibilities are very much high. The cats inbreeding is something which happens a lot. So the possibilities of Hosana to mate with Thandi and Kalamba, closely related family members by the cats, they do mate. The only problem is when there is inbreeding and the little ones are not making it to adapt the survival because of the weak genes. So we are still going to witness quite a lot of territorial related fights between Tingana, Hosana, Hukumuri and other male leopards in the area. Same applies to Thandi. She is more or less the same as Tingana. They are both 13 years old. And she is also having competitors in the area. So it's also going to happen on her side. She might also start seeing some of the females coming in. We have seen some other unknown females brought and introduced here. Oh, look at that. Hey, this is so nice when it's stretching like that. So we have seen some of the unknown females brought by Tingana for mating purposes in the area. What if one of those females is falling in love with this territory? So you can see that the possibility of Thandi as well to have a competitor, they are very much high because Tingana is introducing these females to the territory. So if you can check Tingana's territory, it does incorporate Thandi's territory. So now let me take you far to David in the Masai Mara.
Well, the only thing I haven't seen leopards hunting are buffaloes. But I've seen leopards hunting baby buffaloes. I meant adults. And they have hunted baby buffaloes. Now, I've come to what I might call a mud wallow here, or a kind of a very unusual jacuzzi, because this buffalo seems to have been here for the last 10 hours, if not more. And look at him. I initially thought this is a new species that I have discovered myself, and I was trying to get a name for it and calling it David Spearsis, because he looked very different from a distance and looked like he had pimples and bubbles all on his body, and that's the mud wallow or the jacuzzi I'm talking about. And he is not alone. There are two of them, and just look, the paste of mud they have on their bodies. They must have been here for a very long time. These are the buffaloes you do not want to take chances with, because they are going to crush you to the ground and grind you like flour. See how mean they are. Personally, I have never liked buffaloes. I've had bad experiences with them before. Sherry, you're very right. Where he is, that is home. He is home and dry, and he has been wallowing there and rolling himself in that particular mud wallow, Sherry, and I agree with you 100%. Where he is very happy. Just chewing cud now, the two of them, and definitely you can tell by the size of their bodies, by the size of their horns, they are two males. When we talk of dangerous buffaloes in Africa, or buffaloes killing people or injuring people, in general it's always the males and not the females. As much as once in a while get females, hitting or attacking people. Buffaloes, once the males start getting a little bit old, they're shown the door by the females, and in general they become very grumpy. So you don't want to take any chances. We have always said in Africa, sometimes you could easily walk through, say, 50, 100 buffaloes, but not one. Very good. So we're going to let these guys enjoy their jacuzzi, but I think Steve got something interesting on top of the vehicle that he'd want to show you.
Well, indeed. Thank you, David. We have got something outside of the vehicle, and there's something really cool to watch and to see after the rains. I was talking all about how animals, territorial animals, like to scent mark again after the rainfall because the rain washes away the scent. And tracks and signs really interest me because through a track you can interpret behavior. And what we've got over here, and it's quite easy to see, I think you can get it all the way from here. Has sense? And it's got quite a pungent smell. Here is the two back feet of a male white rhino that has walked through here, almost like a wheel spinning quad bike, moving through here, dragging his feet forward. So the two front feet are moving forward, and the two back feet, I'll demonstrate now, move through, and he drags the two back feet like this. I'm not going to disturb it too much because there's still a track here to be seen. Here you can actually make out the foot of the rhino, because as he moves he's got a shuffle. He can't just drag his feet. There's almost like a delayed, I'm going to do it now, drag it, and then as it drags it stops, so it leaves that one mark where it leaves a track. And as he moves forward and drags his track through, he actually sprays. Oof, that is a male white rhino's urine. He's got this really like spray that comes out from behind, and that will stick on here and stay until the next rainfall. By doing that, he's causing some disturbance. He's making a very obvious area over here. You can see here's another track over here, and all the dirt has been moved forward. You see that, so you can clearly see he's come in this direction. And so through this track you can see that it's a territorial male, and you can tell that it's a white rhino because, well, the size of the track here is very, very big. We don't get black rhino here. There is always the potential to get a black rhino here. I haven't seen one, but a black rhino's track is far smaller than that of a white rhino. This is almost about 20, probably about 30 centimeters in size. So white rhino male, he's first been to the midden where he's defecated, feeding just like a hippo. But to get lots and lots of grass in their diet, and then in the midden they kick their feet, and that smell on the feet from the midden is then transferred here with the scent of his urine. Carol, you thought there was only black rhino here. Well, we are in Djuma in the Sabi Sands. You might be thinking of the Mara. In the Mara, we do show black rhino up there because the Mara Conservancy doesn't have an issue with that, but we don't show them here for protection purposes. But white rhino here, there are black rhino in the Kruger Park, and I have no doubt they have been seen in the Sabi Sands at some point. I've never seen one. They're not as common. They're much more secretive and hardly seen, but beautiful. Roshni, it's quite a sour smell. Let me get my nose right in there and see if we can get the bouquet. Okay, let's get a nice little. It's a bit of a sour off apple sort of smell. Off hour, like a cider that's gone a little bit in the sun. Maybe a little bit of ice and a glass, and this would be quite nice to drink. But you know, it's a sour apple, warm. It's lovely, lovely. The bouquet. Now each rhino will be unique, and you've seen a rhino's nostrils. They're like this big. Have a look at my nostril. It's tiny. Look at it. Rhino's nostrils are this big, and when they walk, they're mouth, their nose is right to the ground. So as he walks from his midden, and he does this every 50 to 100 meters, he'll do the scraping. He's obviously covering the smell from his dung here and the urination. And by turning the soil over, have you ever dug in your garden before? Try and smell the soil. For example, if I just come to over here and I smell the soil right there, doesn't have too much of a smell. But if I do this and I scratch it up and then I smell that, ooh, so much more smell and earth and fragrance to it. So they add smell to that as well. We see leopards and lions also doing the same sorts of thing, standing there scratching, doing the same sort of thing, and it's to turn the soil over and to increase the bouquet. Carol, white and black rhino in small reserves conditions where unnaturally close proximity can occur, they have been known to hybridize black and white rhino, but it's not a natural thing. It happens in an area that is fenced off where there's no natural movement of these species, and they have been known to hybridize. I don't know if the hybrid is reproductive. I think it's not, but I could be wrong there. But lovely track and sign for the bush in the morning. And well, when you see a white rhino, the drag mark is quite small. And you see how small the drag mark is. Kind of, his foot is here, his drag mark starts there and ends just over here. So that's about 2.5 meters or so, about 8 feet. Whereas in a black rhino, well, really, really interesting in reserves where I've worked with, that both occur, he'll drag his feet for 20, 30 meters. So quite often you can see a much longer wheel spin. And then when you look at the track itself, it's much smaller in fact, because they've got a much smaller track. I'll show you in the book because it's much easier to use a picture. Oh, don't you love it when you open and it goes straight to the book? Okay, here's the white rhino, so 30 centimeters long and probably about almost half that wide. So very, very big track, very difficult to confuse a white rhino with a black rhino. And just over here I spoke about his face and his nose. Look at the nostrils, and he walks very close to the ground. So if he comes across any individual that has scent marked or carried dung or has a track or smell in his area, well, they'll become very protective. And then if I turn the page over to the black rhino, 24 centimeters at the biggest. So much easier to differentiate between a black and white rhino in the track when you do find them in the same area. And I'd love to be able to show you one. Maybe David up in the Mara will be able to show you one at some stage. But for now, look at the difference in the shape. Also big nostrils, very hooked lip, called the hooked-lipped rhinoceros. I'd love to see a black rhino here. I did see quite a few up in the Mara when I was there, which was very, very special. But while I get back on and get the mud off of my hands and feet, let's go back over to Sydney.
So now I've got a different animal, and I have been introduced to this different animal by a Hosanna who just got disappeared somewhere in these bushes. He was hearing these elephants pushing down the trees, as I have indicated earlier. After that, he decided to come down towards the drainage line, and by the other side of the drainage line, we found the elephants. Hosanna got disappeared. I am still now looking for him, but for now, let's enjoy this beautiful elephant sighting. Maybe he's going to come out somewhere here. I don't think he's so hungry in such a way that he wants to try and hunt down an elephant, because that one is a mission impossible. So you can see that this is quite a very small head of the elephants. Maybe it's a big head. Some are at the back, I don't know, because they are so very much quiet here. And I can see these babies there as well. Lots of elephants has got small babies by this time of the year. Elephants, they don't have a specific breeding season. You can see them with the babies at any time of the year. Baby elephants have got a very interesting behavior similar to the zebras and some other animals of eating droppings of their mothers in order to gain the digestive bacteria. So some of the elephants, you'll see them with their droppings on their face because they always want to walk very closely with their mothers. Yeah, here. I have experienced that, and that was while I was still doing the commercial guiding. One of my guests shined the flashlight on one of the elephants very close, and that elephant chased me at night unexpectedly. I had to reverse very quickly and scratching against the trees. I have been chased by the elephant because of the flashlights. Elephants don't like the flashlights at night because the eyes of the elephants, they are built similar to our eyes. They are lacking something which is called a tapetum lucidum. A tapetum lucidum is a thick reflective membrane which is found at the back of the pupil which reflects the light. They don't have that. So at this stage, these elephants are just feeding on grasses and trees, and everything is nutritious, both grasses. The trees, specifically the thorn and the spine trees, they contain 8% of protein, whereas grasses only contains 4% of proteins. That is why a high percentage of their diet on these animals is consisted of the trees than the grasses. So the elephants, they have got a very simple digestive system. They are hind gut fermenters. As they are chewing, digestive system has started. Hind gut fermenters are the animals with a simple stomach. So those animals, digestive system on them, it starts from the mouth as they are chewing. So this elephant right in front of us, you cannot believe, he is feeding on a buffalo thorn. A buffalo thorn has got very strong hook thorns, but he is not worried about that. You can see he's using his trunk to break the buffalo thorn. So the buffalo thorn is one of those trees who are medicinally used, and people are using them in order to I will tell you just now, the buffalo thorn is used in order to control the high blood pressure. In order to control that, if you come and eat the leaves, it's going to help you with that. So maybe when the elephant is eating the buffalo thorn is when he's trying to also get hold of those kind of things in order to control the bodies. Paula, one of the biggest threats to this big animal is teeth wearing out. The elephants, when they start to lose their teeth, is when they are going to experience the problem, because now they are not going to forage easily. So that's why the teeth are so important. When they're getting older, they start to lose the teeth, and that then shortens their lifespan. Mary, I can't wait for that kind of an experience. You must come and visit us in Africa so that you can have nice and close contacts with these elephants. If you look, this elephant has got the mammary glands between their front legs, which is one of the things which makes them a pectoral mammal. So the teeth are just between the front legs. You can see that is where the little one is suckling all the time. So most of the animals, their mammary glands, they are right at the back. Yeah, this is quite a very big animal. And if you look between the eye and the ear, there is a little bit of fluid coming out. That fluid must have to be used. We must use it as a gauge of an animal's stress. But when it comes to the elephants, people, they wrongly interpret the secretion. They associate that secretion only with mirth. And the secretion of temporine gland, which is from temporal gland, the secretion of that temporine from the temporal gland it is done by all males, females, including the little ones. Even the young ones who are not yet ready to go on mast, who are not yet matured, they also secrete that, which means you have to use it in order to gauge the stress. If you see the fluid coming out, keep a distance. It means that animal has been stressed before you got there. You can see that elephant is now feeding on a thorn tree. So now let's quickly cross over to David, who also got something very big, from the big animal in Juma to something big in Mara.
Very good, Sydney. Keep the elephants, and Sydney, you need to explain to us where did Hosanna go. Possibly see whether you can find him again for us. And I'm having a little bit of a break from the mammals now and doing a bit of birds. And we got a Maasai ostrich here. And this one is a huge male, fully grown. You can see his size in comparison to those torchwood trees there. The largest birds that we got in Africa. And I'm sure we know they do not fly. Pretty tall. What did you stop for there? Or what are you watching? But of course, for safety, they'll always stop and look where they're going. And knowing that, oh, the wildebeest are gone, lions will prey or predate on anything, including these ostriches here. Look at that drumstick of that male ostrich. And I'm saying the male because the ostriches have a very clear sexual dimorphism. Black and white, the females being greyish brown in color. Unlike other birds that give us challenges like certain storks or certain rollers that will always challenge us, telling males from females, ostriches are very good and they help make our life easier as guides out here. There's another species or another type of ostrich in Kenya that is called the Somali ostrich, that is further north. See how they keep opening their wings? Now, that particular ostrich, it's called the Somali ostrich, if you look on the legs and the neck, they are a bit greyish, bluish in color. Otherwise, the black and white on the feathers is the same, but also the Somali ostrich, the black and the white is very iridescent, very shiny black, I would say, very bright white. And I would say those ones are very vulnerable. The numbers are not doing very well, looking at the IUCN Red List. Jason, these I would say ostriches could get up to 2 meters. They are tall and they're huge. They could get up to 2 meters tall. And when you look at that, that definitely, I would guess, it's taller than me. And I am almost 5 something, and that male is definitely taller than me. One advantage of being tall is because of speed. And I thought I saw a female somewhere, and I think that's what Bungay is trying to get hold of. And I was talking about the differences of the males and the females. And I'm not very sure, but if that's all brown and greyish in color, then that one is a female. Busy eating, or is it another male? We'll find out if it turns around. But again, as I said, the female will be brown or greyish in color and either feeding on some leaves. Yeah, it looks like another male to me. Yeah, it looks like another male. I can see a bit of white on the feathers and a bit of black and a bit of pink, because the females will not have the pink on the legs and the necks. It will only be on the males and not the females. Very good. We're putting another one here, and that's another boy. Well done, Bungay. Anna Marie, I would think these ostriches could very easily outrun a lion. I mean, the lionesses will do about, what, 80 kilometers, 50 miles an hour, more or less, and these guys could do more than that. Look at their legs, Anna Marie. Look at the strides they make. And Anna Marie, the first defense of ostriches is flight, is to run, and they make huge strides. They look like they're always like doing slow motion, like moving one leg after the other, and they look like they're shaking or like, moving their bodies from left to right, but they move fast. They're very fast birds. And I mean, Anna Marie, they are a lot faster than lionesses. Lions have been known to hunt them, and especially the females. Males, of course, will have to lay ambush and wait until they get very close, because they do not run as fast as the females. But Anna Marie, definitely these birds, just to me, they fly low. That's a very easy walk there. Lennon, ostriches in general, I would say they're vegetarians, but also they're carnivores in one way or the other. But mainly ostriches feed on seeds, they'll feed on grass, they'll feed on fruits, and they'll also feed on flowers. But like any other bird, Lennon, if they bump into any reptiles, they'll feed on it. I'm talking of skinks, I'm talking of lizards, I'm talking of small snakes. That's very typical of any bird. Occasionally they have been seen to be also getting grasshoppers, insects, and small little mammals. But also don't forget, Lennon, they also not feed on pebbles or sand, but they have been known to eat sand or pebbles to help in digestion. KB, I must have missed your question there, Luke. So if you bring it, I'd be more than happy again. But I was just saying, ostriches have been known to pick some pebbles and sand to help them in their digestion. KB, you'd like to know whether an ostrich would attack a person. In general, not. In general, not. We haven't seen them doing that. But the only time they have done that is when they have chicks or when they have eggs. If they have chicks that are pretty young and you see anybody going there, and like any mother, they have instinct, like, you know, don't come close to your chicks because the chicks are very vulnerable, and you have seen them attacking people. And what they do, they will not kick people because they're tall. You'll see them like getting or, you know, pecking human beings on the head using their beaks because they're pretty tall and the beaks are pretty strong too. But ideally, ostriches don't attack man. See, look, he looks like to be walking on high-heeled shoes there. When young, they all look of the same color. They're all brown. But from the 6 months upwards, that's when they start fledging and showing what sex they are, either males or females. But when they all hatch out, they're all brown in color. How majestic to walk in the African savannah. Very good, wonderful ostriches there, and I think Stivovo is back on the road and doing a bit of drive.
Ostriches are very cool to see. We found a white-backed vulture. There were a couple more. They were just around the corner. They're all flown off apart from this one. And well, white-backed vultures, when you find them in a group like this, there's nothing too much to be thought about. They probably came and had a little bit of a wash at Twin Dams, because that's where we are. If you do find vultures with maybe a hooded vulture or a tawny eagle or a bateleur, then you can be certain that there is some form of meat around. But with yesterday being cold and wet, and today once again being cold and wet, vultures are kind of restricted to trees as they wait for the heat on the ground to generate any thermals, because a very heavy bird, not as heavy as the ostrich of course, but it's very, very energy consuming for them to flap and fly. Instead, they will wait for the thermals to generate and to flap off the ground before they will fly off. Oh, we've got a cuckoo just here. I love my cuckoos at the moment. I can hear a red-chested cuckoo. There we go. I don't know if this is a red-chested. Let's have a look. You've got to turn your head, fella. It looks like a red-chested because the beak is all quite dark. But it, ooh, got to get really in there to see the colours. You see the yellow ring around the eye, and the black tip, and the beak looks slightly yellow. It's probably an African cuckoo, but we've been hearing the red-chested cuckoo for some time now. And, well, they are very, very skulky. They're very hard to see, red-chested cuckoos, to be honest. And if this is the African cuckoo, well, they like to parasitize on the formidable fork-tailed drongo. Come on, turn and show us your chest. Cuckoo. Not the very best cuckoo noise in the world. We didn't like that. They fly very, very well and quite often confused with a small raptor, the shape and size of cuckoos. They do really, really resemble little sparrowhawks and the like when they fly. And, well, this is the time of year for these very, very cool, interesting birds. But due to the colors, I didn't get a very good look at him there. But the similarities, let me just have a look in the book because it's always nice to compare them. But the common cuckoo, or should I say, yeah, the common cuckoo bird family. So here you can see the cuckoos here. Here's the family of them here. Very easy to identify the crested cuckoos like the Jacobin at the top. He's got no lines on the chest, but he's got that nice crest. You do get the dark morph, a melanistic form, and then the Levaillant, which is on the right over here, which has got the lines in the chest. So L for lines, very easy to identify. The thick-billed cuckoo is not one that you see very often, but here you can see that the juvenile is quite nondescript, but the male, or the adult should I say, looks like one of these at the top, but without the crest. But cuckoos have all got a very long tail. The great spotted cuckoo, one of the easiest to identify with that coloration and the crest on the head. And then if we keep going down, you'll see the African cuckoo on the right here, which is what I thought it might have been, but I think the beak was a little bit too dark. The beak was possibly the common cuckoo, but then you get the red-chested, which we can hear screaming and shouting all over the place. But notice how all three of these have got a bit of a yellow ring around the eye, and well, you need to really look closely at the beak. Unless it turns around, you can't see that chest. Okay, well anyway, it seems like Sydney has managed to catch up with not some streaks, but some spots.
So I managed to reallocate Hosanna, who just got disappeared earlier somewhere by the drainage line. Hosanna is still trying to stalk some of the animals. Now, he doesn't have any potential target. He's just somewhere in front of me, heading much more towards the tree house dam area. I am going to just keep following until I see what he's looking for. One day, I'm going to be lucky and witness a kill. So you can see now he's right here, and he's using that little bush in front there in order to hide the body. So I'm just going to keep following and see what his intentions are. You can see the tail has got a white tip. That white tip is the one that these animals are using in order to communicate. When the female has got cubs, she uses that as a non-verbal communication. So the hunt goes on. So let's carry on and see if we can improve the sighting. I'm not going to go in front of him at the moment. As I can see, he is on a hunting mood, so I don't want to disturb anything. All I'm going to do now is to keep following. Apologies, we are going to see a lot of his backside now. And now it's difficult for Hosanna to escape me, because I can promise you when Hosanna has disappeared, I'm going to use all this kind of sense of smell and hearing and eyesight, everything at the same time. So there is a very big termite mound right in front of us. And this big termite mound, he might be using it as a cover to avoid animals to detect him from the other side. He might go and climb it in order to observe this whole area, because I can see now we are on a high elevation, so he can be able to see very far. So you can see it's much more open here where we are, but with quite a lot of bushes in order for him to hide. If the animals are feeding here, I can promise you it is not going to be easy for Hosanna, for these animals to see him coming. So the cover is good, and there's an open fields for him as well in order to target his potential animal. So you can see now he's just about to cross Rebecca's, and he's looking at something much more that side. So when he's looking for something like this, I don't get worried, because I know that it's going to show me what it is shortly. So I'm just going to pull. Hosanna's backside is better than no Hosanna at all. I like that one. So sometimes we have to accept that when the animal is hunting, we don't have to ruin the hunt. Because for me to go in front, the potential target will run away and he won't be able to catch it. So that is why sometimes I must have to show you his back. When he's hunting, it's a different animal. I don't have to jeopardize his hunt all the time. So you can see that he is hunting, he is moving, making use of available covers from one cover to the next. So you can see now he is moving down this side here in front of us, and he is heading much more towards the treehouse dam. Old hyena den, the old hyena Juma den is also towards this direction where he's going. And he's just going around because the center where he started from, the quarantine, which is much more that side, is not far away from here. It's just going around, but there is treehouse dam here. Maybe he wants to use the treehouse dam as a central point of attraction for the prey animals. It's not that very close, but I can promise you he is heading towards that area. So, but for now, while I am still following and searching what he's up to, let's quickly go back to Steve Ovo and see what he's having.
Yes, well, Hosanna, it will not stop moving in this weather. Excuse me, unless he catches something. And well, it just goes to show, folks, that we followed him most of yesterday morning. He didn't catch anything that we know about, and he's been moving constantly again. So these awesome predators that we talk about that have the ability to catch and kill everything, well, it requires a lot of energy and effort. And they're sneaking around through the long grass, often looking for little individuals like this. Let's see if we can get him. There we go. Hello, Double Dash. You want to know if territorial animals respond to human urine? Well, the reality is that, I mean, we spoke about black and white rhino hybridizing. Certain animals, such as Nyala and bushbuck, also have been known to hybridize. It's all got to do with pheromones. The pheromones that are transferred between the animal then obviously will stimulate the male or the female to some degree, and that is why they are able to hybridize. If there were no pheromone connections or there was no similarity between the species, well, there's a steenbok running off. We're talking about rhino now. He's a territorial male, but so they won't really, I don't think they will react to our urine. Dogs, for example, I remember many times as a child growing up, you go and urinate in the garden and the dog will come up and spray on it. It's mainly because the dog thinks that that's his turf. But rhino and lion and leopard, they respond to species-specific scent marking. They will smell their own scent marking, and that is what stimulates them, that is what keys them up. But with regards to rhino, because they are quite similarly related, at some point they just changed. Same as bushbuck and nyala, they also respond to each other, and in unnatural conditions will reproduce. A lot of that's got to do with the similarity of the species. But a rhino smelling a human scent mark, I don't think they respond to it. What they would respond to is if I walked in a rhino midden somewhere else and I came here and walked along the ground, they would pick up on that smell. They might get this weird waft of my feet as well, but they'd most certainly be able to pick up on the smell of that other rhino. For example, some people try and keep leopards and lions away from their property by taking scat from another area of a leopard or a lion and putting it in an area where they're having a problem, and apparently it works quite well, because that lion that comes along goes, where did this come from? Mind you, it also works very, very well for baboon. I've got friends who farm macadamia nuts down in the Southern Cape, and well, we're just checking Treehouse Dam here. I believe Hassan is on his way. We were on our way anyway, but what some of my friends do is they'll find leopard scat in the forests there, or they'll go to one of the sort of lion parks and get lion scat, and they'll put it around their farm, and the baboons, not knowing whether there is a lion there or not, come across and smell this dung or the scat, and they absolutely lose their minds and they leave the area for a while. Instinctively they know lions are dangerous, leopards are dangerous, so when they figure out that there's one in the area, they go, oh, I'm out of here. So it does work quite well, but that's just a sort of an observation from a baboon going, ooh, I don't want to get eaten. But when it comes to territorial animals, it's all about pheromones. They respond to species-specific pheromones in urine and in dung. And then obviously that stimulates them to either go and fight or to go and mate. Well, a male who is not fighting or mating this morning, he's still on search for his breakfast.
So Hosanna is just here, look at that. So you can see that he's just here and is very much relaxed at the moment. He's just maybe trying to recover a little bit from walking such a long distance. So this is a beautiful sighting. So maybe he's looking at something here. I'm just going to wait and see what exactly he is looking at the moment. The ears are just shriveling all the time. He doesn't just do this. You will see he's going to show me what he's looking at. I don't have to get worried by looking at the bushes there. His focus will tell me. Annette, this is so very much, and this is so very nice and close. These animals, when we are in these cars, they see us in the car as one object. They cannot distinguish between myself and my camera operator as well as his equipment and the car. I can see that he is concentrating on something, and the wind is on his favor. The wind is coming towards us, and the wind also carries quite a lot of information for him. You will see once he gets well informed, he's going to take a decision. Oh, there's a steenbok. I saw it. I saw from what he's concentrating at. You see right straight ahead here, Dave. In between this gap, just go to the other side. This steenbok is lying down there. Yes, by the open space right there. Yes, right there. You see, that is what he's looking at. So you can see that if you concentrate on an animal, that animal is going to orientate you to what he's looking at, and that is going to give you an animal. Look, we have got a steenbok lying down there. I was shown that steenbok by Hosanna. Now he's about to take a decision. Look at him. Let's go back to him now. Then you will see that he's taking a decision. Can you see that? A decision has been taken now. He's going there. You can see how he's moving. He is slowly moving towards there at the moment. So it's just going to take time for him to get there, because it's not very close, but he's right where he's going now. And there's a drainage line that he must have to cross. This is going to be a mission to get there. And that Steenbok is not even aware about his presence. He is moving so slowly, and I can promise you he's got a potential to take down that animal if he does his hunt nicely, walking swiftly and softly. There is a very nice available cover. I can see that he's approaching from the side, and we're not gonna drive. We are very where we are, I think is good. We're not gonna drive at all, so we'll just wait until we see what is going to happen. You will see him. He's going to the other side, and now you will be able to see him and his prey. You can see him and the prey are close to each other, and he's got a very good chance of catching that prey. He's approaching nicely. So this is looking good, and I think I've got to share this with everybody. What a great sighting. I have got Hosanna here, the little chief by the western side of the Greater Kruger National Park. And this is Sydney from Mikosi. I am with Dave. We have got a leopard on a hunt. Look at that. So this leopard is just about 50 meters away from the prey, and I can see that he's using all the different strategies, concealment and the movement to get very close to the potential target. So the potential target is just somewhere on the right and not very far away from where he is at the moment. So he's trying to walk on the smooth areas so that he cannot be detected from any sound. So the prey animals, some of them can see well and some can hear very well. But the concentration of that prey animal, I can promise you, is very much relaxed. It's not aware of this potential danger coming. Nathan, Hosanna is still very much young, but when talking in terms of the hunting skills, I can promise you he's getting there. He's just about 2 years something. Oh, look now, I can see the prey animal is raising the ears. So it looks like the prey animal picked up a movement or a little bit of noise. If you look at that prey animal now, the ears are up. So we might see the prey animal running away from the 2 years old leopard, Hosanna, who is now trying by all means to get something to eat for the morning. He will be 3 years old by February next year. Kerry, this is very, very much exciting indeed. You can ask us questions. We are right here. This is happening in front of us. So I can't see where the predator is. I can see now he's somewhere in the middle of those bushes. You can see how difficult it is in order to spot a predator when he's hunting. So, but the focus of the prey is not on the predator yet. Ellen, the possibilities of the Steenbok to outrun the leopard, they are very much high, because leopards don't want to chase an animal for quite a long distance. Normally, they will use concealment to a distance of about 10 meters, and they will push and get to 5 meters. After that, they are going to launch an explosive attack. That is how they do things. So I can't see him now, and I'm not going to move from where I am because we can see the target. if he's slowly approaching the target, we will see him. He's going to come out at any time. Because if I move here, I might disturb this hunt. He has been hunting. This is maybe the third target since this morning, and he has not been winning. So I think this is a good chance. So I'm just going to stop and see. Yeah, now he's coming. You see, he is slowly approaching, coming much more closer. So there's no need for me to go anywhere. I will be here just watching this beautiful hunt. So the wind is on his favor. You can hear the wind is blowing. This wind is coming from where these animals are coming to us. We are the only people who can smell them. They cannot smell each other. He's so very lucky because none of the birds are calling, complaining about his presence, and no other warning calls given by any of the prey animals in the area. I can see now that the steenbok is regurgitating or is ruminating. Amy, the leopards, they do hunt very often. They don't catch very often, but they hunt very often, because even when they've got a kill, they still hunt. The leopards, they are not discriminative. They are interested to try anything presenting itself in front of them. So if we go back to that steenbok, you will see that the steenbok is now doing rumination. When that steenbok is ruminating like that, it means it's so comfortable. But then it stops. Look at that, it's chewing. So these kind of animals, they go out for feeding purposes, and they find a nice spot and take back food to the mouth and eat again. It's what that steenbok is eating now. So you can see that it's pretty very much relaxed. So going back to the predator who is setting his target, you will see that he is now very much relaxed. Jill, I will say stop, little one, stop, because the little chief is so hungry. So the little chief must have something to eat, and that is how nature works. The animals must eat nutritious grass in order to grow their body size. For these kind of animals to eat them in order to balance their population in the area. So if we have got too much steenboks, the bush is going to suffer because there is no balance. So you can see now that he is taking his time. And look, that steenbok is lowering the head. And when he's lowering the head, he's lowering the visibility. Cannot be able to see very well. Look at that pupil. If you look at the pupil of that steenbok, you can see it's too big. The steenbok has got a very good eyesight. So that cat, little chief, Hosanna, must have to be very careful and make sure that he doesn't make any mistake. Otherwise, that potential target is going to disappear. Look at that. You see, he's using an opportunity, and the steenbok is moving the ears. Can you see that the ears are moving at the moment? Alex, when it comes to the name, the steenbok, I'm not too sure where this name steenbok derived from. So I'm going to have to check and see where exactly the derivative of steenbok started from. Andrew, this is amazing to me as well. I am out here every day looking at the same animals, but same animals are not doing the same thing every day. And they're not approaching the same animal species every day. So this is happening now. You can see they are just giving us an emphasis that when it's overcast, predators, they don't rest. I can see now that the steenbok is looking at the animal. I'm not too sure if that steenbok peak is present, but the direction of the focus is right at the area where the predator is approaching from. You can see that the head is looking at that side. That is where Hosanna is. Oh, you can see the steenbok is being inquisitive now, and the predator is just stationary. He's not moving at all where he is. And the steenbok, I can say the distance is just about 20 meters. It might be 20 meters approximately. They are not very far away from each other. So, but I can see that here, the possibilities of Hosanna to lose these potential targets are very much high. The steenbok is still now assessing the vegetation to check if it is not interfered by a predator, or what the steenbok is seeing is a predator or is just the bush. Oh, look, the steenbok is coming down to the wrong direction. Maybe I saw the steenbok took 2 steps there. The steenbok is still not sure. So it will take, the distance is too, oh, look at that now. The steenbok just decided to run away because he waved his tail. Look, he's now trying to use an opportunity. Oh, there were 2 steenboks. I saw when they're running away, I saw that it's not one. It means it was a male and a female in that area. Maybe that is why he has been spotted. Now he's just sniffing the hoofs, the hoof tracks where the steenbok was. Unfortunately, he lost the battle, but it has been an interesting try. And thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. It has been a great sighting. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to carry on following and see if he's not going to come across something else accidentally like he just did now. So now I am going to find a space here by this drainage line, cross over to the other side and keep following and see what are the next intentions of this little chief leopard, Hosanna, who is on fire this morning, trying to find something to eat. And a lot of steenboks at this stage, I saw they are still pregnant. And Hosanna doesn't mind to catch the prey. We saw him eating the baby. We saw him eating the baby nyalas. That was about 3 months ago, when he was eating the 2 dead nyalas there. He was starting by taking out the babies. So to him, it's not an issue. So it's a bonus. When there's a baby, to him, it's like it's a bonus. So now, let's cross over to the Masai Mara, where David is also having something at the moment.
Well done, Hosanna. And you almost got something for yourself for breakfast, but you did not make it. That happens a lot, and I'm sure because being such a young boy, you have another chance to do another hunt, and who knows what will happen maybe later this afternoon. These things will happen, and all cats once in a while they go hunting. Sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't get it. Now our morning's ending up very nicely, and I want to show you what we call the all-road escarpment, because every time I see this escarpment I remember the movie Out of Africa. It has been a great morning, especially for me, having seen my favorite pride of lions, the sausages, and seeing that cub, albeit for a few seconds before he disappeared back in the thicket because of the elephant, and of course Steve Ovo with all the Ellis. And I think the highlight today was Hosanna. What do you think, Bungay? As much as you know you didn't watch it, but I think Hosanna was a great highlight. Now look at that beautiful oral escarpment, and this is the ever glorious Mara Triangle. Oh, the torchwood trees that you see out there, very clear sky. And I want to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us this wonderful morning, and reminding you again, we'll be out again this afternoon on another drive. From myself and all the other fellows out in the field, thank you so very much. Have a good one and see you later this afternoon. Goodbye.